Hey guys, what is up? Ethan here. Welcome back to another video. Today is an exciting day because I did a poll on my Instagram, what video you guys want me to do next, and you guys wanted me to do a how to solve the 4x4 tutorial series. And it's been highly requested for a long time, and I've kind of just put it off because it's a very daunting experience trying to, well, learn it, then solve it yourself, and then try to teach someone how to do it. Anyways, let's jump right into it. I'm going to go ahead and scramble this up. It doesn't matter how you do it, just as long as it's all scrambled up. Alright, so now our cube is all scrambled up. The first thing to do whenever you're solving a 3x3 is to get your white cross. But as you can see, we don't exactly have a solid white center. So I'll grab a 3x3. This is a 3x3. This is actually a mint colored Volk, which I thought looked really cool. I super dig it. It's kind of hard to use whenever you're speed solving, but that's besides the point. Anyways, as you guys can see here, we have the centerpieces, and no matter how we turn the cube, they don't go anywhere. Even if you move them, they're still in the correct order and the orientation that they're supposed to be to solve them. However, on the 4x4, as you can see, this right here is changing. And there's 4 white pieces we have to get to make this centerpiece. So we're treating it like these 2 edges are this one edge, 2 edges are 1, the 4 in the middle are the center, and then we have our corner pieces, just like that. And whenever you're first starting off, if you're not super familiar with the colors of the 3x3, I would have one just sitting here next to you, just so whenever you're creating them, you create them in the correct order. Because if you don't make your centers in the right order, it's going to be a mess, and you're going to have to move them around, and it's going to just kind of be a pain. So it helps to have a 3x3 here when you're first learning to try to figure out the colors. And for the sake of this video, I'll keep it here, and I'll kind of go in the order and rotate it so you guys can see how I do it. Alrighty, so without further ado, we kind of got a lucky scramble. The first thing I look for are all my white centerpieces, because I like starting with the white, moving to yellow, and then solving all the colors on the outside. And for this step, it doesn't really matter what order these centerpieces are in, because it doesn't matter at all. And we got kind of lucky here. We have this one right here, and we have 3 already put together. And you can start on whatever color you want, just as long as you get the orientation correct. So what I'll probably do is try to get this piece up to here and replace this green. And I'm assuming that you guys know already how to solve a 3x3 or something similar, a 2x2. So I'm not going to go super into detail of how to move the piece into place. I'll kind of go over it quickly, but it applies to a lot of the tricks and algorithms that belong on a 3x3. So in order to get this piece here, we're going to treat it just like a corner. So I'll move this piece over and move this down like this, and you'll line it up. You can move it over and move it up just like that. You just kind of play with it, try to figure it out. It's not all that hard. It's very, very intuitive. You can figure it out pretty easy. The harder part is going to be when we get all the other pieces in place, trying not to mess up the other pieces. So now that we have our white center, which is very simple, you want to turn it completely upside down so the white's on the bottom. And this right here needs to be the yellow. So we need to make this side the yellow side. So as I can see right here, we have a yellow here, here, and 2 right here, which is super awesome. So we'll probably start right here. So what you could think is, okay, I need this to go here, so I can just move it up like that. However, that breaks up your white pieces, so you can't really do that. So you kind of have to bring a piece down like this, and then rotate and bring it up. So that way this goes out of the way and it doesn't get broken, and your yellows are in place just like that. And for this step, it doesn't matter if you turn just the middle layer or if you turn both layers, because we haven't messed with the edges at all. So you can just skip ahead and do that. All right, so we have another one right here. So we can move these out of the way, bring it down, over and up. And we got one more, same as before. So we can move, I'm gonna move this out of the way just like this, and then bring this down like this, over and up. And now we have our white and we have our yellow. Alrighty, so next, let's take a look. So we can make any of our colors, or any of our sides, whatever color we want. I'm probably going to start right here because this is actually a pretty good starting place. We already have 2 pieces next to each other. And it's easier when they're next to each other like in a bar because you don't have to move them around as much. Alright, so let's go ahead and make this side blue. And we have a blue piece here, so what we're going to do is turn the cube sideways. And as long as you don't turn it like this, you're not going to break your white or your yellow. So we can go ahead and bring this down, over and up, make our blue. And our final blue is right here, so we can do the opposite on the other side. So move it over there here, over and up, just like that. Perfect, so now we have 3. So this is where you need to be careful and try not to break up your center pieces, and make sure you get them in the right order. So we have yellow, blue, and white. So now what I'll do is I'll do this. So next up we have to do red on this side right here. So I see we have a red piece here, and okay, so let's bring this down, over, and up, and we have red. And I like putting my completed pieces either on the left or on the right. It just makes it easier so I know where I can turn. So let's see, we have a piece not on this side. We have both pieces on adjacent edges over here. So this is kind of annoying. It's a little awkward. What you can do is move it one piece at a time, so you can treat it like it's gonna go up here. So you can go down, over, and up, just like that. And then you can move it again, down, over, up, and now it's up over here. And then you can do the same, just like this. You can go down, over, up, and then you can go over, down, over, up, just like that. Or if you want to, you can go down twice and try to keep track of it, but that gets a little sketchy when you're trying to learn. All right, so now we have blue, we have red, now we need green. And as you can see, our pieces are starting to line up because they don't really have anywhere else to go. So they're kind of forcing themselves into where they're supposed to go. Okay, so now we have this one. This is super easy. We can bring this over, down, over, and up. And as you can see, we have all of our pieces in the right spot. So this is very intuitive. It's not tricky. The hard part is when we get to the last layer, but then it's still pretty much like a 3x3 at that point. So as long as you can do the 3x3, which I have tons of tutorials on, if you can do this, then you can do this no problem. There's like 1 or 2 algorithms you got to learn with this guy because it likes to be tricky, but other than that, it's not that bad. And now we're going to move on and pair up our edges. And the reason we have to do that is because on a 3x3, you only have one edge, and it's always going to be good. But here, you have 2 edges and 2 corners here. So it's like corner, and then we have this edge piece here, which is kind of iffy. So what we have to do is there's going to be 2 of each piece. So there's going to be a red and white, and there's going to be 2 right here. So like there's one right here. And we have to pair them up, and then we can start solving it like a 3x3. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I like to solve the white cross as you would with anything else. It doesn't have to be in order or anything perfect yet. I just like matching up all the white ones first. It's just easier for me to keep track of. So the way I solve it is I keep a space up here that I can use and play with. That's not an edge that I need to worry about. This is where I like to match my pairs up. So you can see here we have a green and white, and we have a green and white. This is a super easy scenario right here. So what I like to do is bring my 2 edges to the opposite sides of each other, like this and like this. And this is where you need to pay attention here, because you're going to be breaking up your centers you just made. But don't worry, we're going to put them back almost right away. And the reason I like to keep this top bit emptied, where it has a blank space where this edge doesn't matter, these ones aren't paired up, is because whenever we create this edge, we're going to bind them together and move them into this space up in the top row and basically fill our top row with all of our paired edges. And then eventually we'll rotate so then we can have more empty spaces. That sounds a little complicated, but I promise it'll make sense once we get moving. It's not all that hard. Once you get it down, you'll be good and we'll be ready to go. Alrighty, so like I said, we have a green and white here, we have a green and white here. So all you have to do is move, it doesn't matter if you move this one or if you move this one, you just gotta move them together so they're paired up, just like that. And then what I like to do is move it up, out of the way, and bring our empty space down in right here where it was before. So this edge is now safe. And then just fix your centers, just like that. And as you can see, it broke up that empty space, which is why we don't want to use a good pair. But our new pair is right here. It is happy and it is ready to go. So it doesn't matter where you put this right now. You just move it out of the way as long as you have an empty space in the top. So let's go ahead and look for our next pair. So here we have a blue and a white. Let's look for our other one, our other blue and white. Let's see. It can be a little daunting at first. There's a ton of pieces. Okay, so here it is right here. So here's what we can do. We just need to make them in the same space. So all we have to do, lift it up just like that. And now they're in the same space. But the problem is they're facing each other. So if you try to pair them up, they're just gonna run away from each other. There's nothing you can do. So what I like to do is move it 180 degrees, just one of them. So you can do this, 1, 2, and then this is what you can do. So now it's over here, you can move it twice, 1, 2, and see now it's paired up. So then what we can do is use our empty space, fill it just like that, and then just fix your centers, and voila. We have a paired up piece, and our centers are okay. And as you can see, our green one is still paired up too. So as long as you have an empty space above you, you can do it just fine. All right, let's do a orange and white. Let's see. Okay, so they're right here. So they're on the same face, but they're not in the right spot to pair it up because we can't pair the edges unless they're completely opposite of one another. So here's what we'll do is we'll move it down, over, and up so that way they're side by side. And this is the one we've already seen before. We have an empty space here, so we can go ahead and just move it over to pair it, up, over, down, and fix our centers. And now look at that, we have another one. So we have 3 out of the 4, and here's our 4th one right here. So we have white, and red. They need to be opposite. So let's go ahead and move it down, over, up, just like that. And as you can see, they're on the same side, so we need to do a 180-degree turn. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then make sure we have an empty space, replace it, and fix our centers. And look at that. Now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. All 4 of our white centerpieces. So in theory, we can make our cross, and this is starting to look familiar. There's our F2O pair and all that stuff. But anyways, we'll go ahead and move on to our edges. I like doing the yellow last. I like kind of building in order. It makes more sense in my head, and it's easier to keep track of. You can also just do it however you want. You're like, oh, here's one, and here's another one. You know, you can just do it just like that, sporadically, however you want to do it. It does not matter at all. I just like doing it in order. It makes more sense for trying to explain it and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and look for another piece. So I see a green and a red. Let's look for another green and red piece. Let's see. Here's one right here. Okay, so they're completely on the opposite side of the cube. So what we can do is rotate it 1, 2, and now they're on the same side. But now they're in the same spot. So we're gonna have to do it all over again. 1, 2, and it's gonna be down here now. 1, 2, now they're paired up. Have an empty space, replace it, and fix your center. All right, next up we have blue and red, blue and red. Oh, but we don't have an empty space here. We don't have one here. But we have one here. Okay, here we go. So we can just move them over, up, over, down, and replace. And there we go. Okay, let's see. We have an orange and green. We have orange and green. Okay, so let's line them on the same face. Oh, we need to move it, so let's go down, over, up. And we have an empty space here, and they're opposite, so perfect. Over, up, over, down, and replace, just like that. Let's see. Okay, now we can do... Let's go ahead and do some of the yellows. And when we get closer to the end, you could run into some issues to where you can't pair it, or there's no empty spaces, and we'll get to that, and there's some algorithms that I'll show you guys that you guys can do. Your best bet will be looking them up. I'll have them on screen if I run into them, but if you look up 4x4 parity algorithms, I'll leave some in the description down below, and I'll try to go over them if I come across them at all. So just let me know in the comments if there's one that you have any issues with, and I'll try to go over it in another video if I do not cover it in this one. Or if you guys know in the comments if you guys can help them out too. Just leave a like and leave a comment and help them out. Alright, so let's see. We have orange and red and orange and red. Okay, so I think we're on our very last pair. So we're going to put them in the same here. And as you can see, we don't have any empty spaces. So this is what we're going to have to do. Alrighty, I accidentally did the wrong algorithm in the wrong spot. I got a little bit confused. So here we go. We're going to do this again. I know it looks a little bit different, but it's the same thing. So we're going to do this and this. We're going to put one of them here in the bottom and one of them on the right side. And we're going to hold it like this. So we have the edges on the right and in the front. And we're going to do this algorithm right here. RW, U2, RW, D, RW prime, U2, RW, D prime, R2, W. And as you can see, all of our edges are absolutely beautiful. And since this next step is so easy, we're just going to keep it in this video. So next step is to solve it like a 3x3. So go ahead and get your white cross. So you can see like this. Get our white cross in here. It's very hard to see through the camera, so I'm going to be a little bit slower. So here's our white cross just like that. And then you can do F2L just like normal, or however you like to do it. You can do it just like this, where you can pair up your edges. It's so tricky to try to solve the cube through a camera lens. Like, it's so small and very challenging to try to see. So I'm doing my best to kind of speed things up and go as fast as I can here. Okay, so now we are almost done, but we have another 4x4 parity, which is super annoying. So we have the whole bottom section done and the middle section, but this is impossible. Literally on a 3x3, this is not even possible. No matter how you try to get it, you'll always be able to get the full cross. You will never have one where this is turned upside down and you'll have 3. So here's where another algorithm is going to come into play. To try to fix this stupid 4x4 parity, but it's okay, we'll get there, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Your cube's not broken, it just is what it is. Hey guys, really quick, sorry to interrupt the video. I realized while I was editing that whenever I was telling you guys this algorithm for the parity, I was saying it wrong and moving it in a different direction. I didn't want to confuse you all, so I have a different camera angle so you guys see this. And let me go ahead and put it into parity, and I'm going to try to say it better this time, because I was editing and I was like, oh, this doesn't make sense, and I didn't want to confuse you all. So I'm reshooting it really quick. That's why it looks different, and the cube is actually solved. So yeah, let me do this again real quick. Okay, so here we go. This is what it looks like. It's not going to look solved, but you know, this is the same premise. It's the same issue. We have 3, and then you have 1 that's missing. So we're going to do is hold it so the parity is facing towards you, and you're going to do this algorithm. And on screen, I'm going to have lowercase r and lowercase l for when I'm just moving this middle section. And whenever I say RW, that's when I am moving both, and LW is both. But just a little r, I'll say little r with my voice, and then on screen you'll see a lowercase r. When I say r and it's capital, it's just the outside. Little r is going to be this middle bit here. Little l is going to be this middle bit right here. Just so that's super confusing, and I didn't explain that well, and I also said the wrong letter and turned it differently. So I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did here. So hold this in front of you, and you're going to do little r prime, B2, little l, U2, little l prime, U2, little r2, B2, little r, B2, little r prime, B2, U2, little r2, U2. And what's going to happen next is I'll show you guys in the video once I finish the algorithm, so it's all fluid and together with your solve. But this basically solved that and fixed that issue, so hopefully that fixed it. Sorry guys for the interruption, but I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. And as you can see, it fixed that parity, so whenever we do our normal 3x3 step, boom, now we have the cross. Solve our OLL like normal. And we should be getting so close. We can go ahead and just do an algorithm to make it look a little cleaner. Just like this. And boom. Look at that. Boom. That was the longest way to solve it. But there we go. We have it all solved. Super simple. If you guys want to look them up, I'll leave a link to some websites in the description that show a lot of the parity algorithms, because there's a ton of different ways you can do it. But that's just the way I like to do it, and it's only 2 algorithms. There's the one for the last 2 edges, and then there's the one for that edge flip parity, and then sometimes you have some PLL parity, but it's nothing too complicated. I'll leave a link to those in the description as well, because it's a little bit confusing to try to explain, but once you follow it online, it's super simple. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you guys want to let me know in the description down below what you want to do for the next video, let me know. I have lots of cubes. I'm happy to teach you guys or do some solves or hang out, whatever you guys want to do, just let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.